and welcome to Velocity Talks. My name is Christopher Durham, and I'm the president of the Velocity Institute. This is my weekly opportunity to talk to the leaders, the movers, the shakers, just the cool people in private brand. Today, I'm excited to welcome Morgan Drummond from Misfits Markets. Morgan, thank you for being with us.
Hi, Christopher. Thank you so much for inviting me to join. I'm super excited.
Absolutely. So, Morgan, I always like to start and learn a little bit about you. So, tell us about Morgan.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I am born and raised Austinite, so that's where I still live in Austin, Texas. I live here with my family, including an 8.5-year-old rescue dog. And I like to say he's my first child. And of course, my lovely son, Major, he will be 6 here in April. I've been in the food industry for close to 15 years. I started with my bachelor's in nutrition and got my master's in food science. And while I was obtaining my master's, that's when I started working in product development. So I started off working for a couple of co-manufacturers doing, the benchtop R&D work with the lab coat and the hairnet. It was a really great look for beverage and liquid supplements. So that was a really fun way to really quickly start applying what I was learning. And then in 2011, I joined Whole Foods as a product developer, supporting the private label team there. And I stayed at Whole Foods for 11 years. Shortly after joining, transitioning to the private label sourcing team and working my way up from assistant buyer to director when I left. So I spent most of my time managing, more of the dry grocery categories, worked with a lot of amazing people, amazing suppliers, and learned so much. And then more recently, I joined Misfits Market, where I'm the senior director of private label, and I will be celebrating my 1-year anniversary with Misfits in May. And that's pretty much me. Something I am proud to call out is, I like to think of myself as a lifelong student. I love learning new things, and I'm always finding inspiration through my work or personally. And in 2019, I achieved my extra virgin olive oil savant certification. So I am an olive oil nerd. I love olive oil, learning about it, tasting it. Every bottle I buy, I'm always trying it first in my blue tasting cups. And that's my fun party trick. So that's about me.
That's very cool. And so you were on the team at Whole Foods when they reinvented 365, right?
Yeah, so it's funny, I've been through a bunch of rebrands. When I joined initially, I remember as a team, we were cycling through one of the previous redesigns of 365, that branding. And then more recently, over the last few years, is when we did that major rebrand of the 365, and then subsequently the Whole Foods Market private label too. I was on maternity leave at the time too when Amazon acquired Whole Foods. So I saw a lot of growth and a lot of change there, and that's really setting me up well for all the exciting growth happening at Misfits Market.
So tell us about Misfits.
Yeah, so Misfits Market was founded about 4.5 years ago by Avi Ramesh, who's our founder and CEO. He started in the Philly area making deliveries of Misfit organic produce and really scaled up from there. So we went from just making these, mystery box deliveries of random produce in the Philly area to early last year in 2022, being able to deliver all sorts of items to every zip code in the continental US. So we expanded into packaged goods, dairy, meat, and seafood throughout the course of 2021 and into 2022. And it's been really exciting. And last year was a monumental year for us with our continued growth and success. We were able to acquire Imperfect Foods last fall. And that's really exciting because both companies have such a similar ethos in terms of what we're trying to accomplish. With it comes down to reducing food waste and rescuing food, and especially with Misfits Market, really trying to promote accessibility, because it's this really interesting problem that we have in the industry, in the world, and here in our own backyard in the US, in terms of we have all this food going to waste. It's contributing to carbon emissions and greenhouse gases. But then we also have this problem of a lack of access for so many people. And, the food is either just not convenient to them to purchase, or it's too expensive. So, our goal is to help promote food affordability by also reducing food waste and kind of tying those two opportunities together. So with the acquisition of Imperfect, it really ramps up just the scale in which we can work together to solve this problem that we have. Because obviously in the industry, scale matters. You can do more when you have
Absolutely.
more. And so, it's previously two medium-sized e-commerce retailers. We can now do more as a larger e-commerce retailer, at least here in the United States. So we have, a variety of different plans available for our customers. Again, we're all e-commerce. We have no physical for locations, and customers can basically get a mystery box kind of curated for them, where they can make their own selections every week. And now with the integration, we have a much larger assortment. It really ramps up the types of products that we have available to our customers, and then also specifically for private label, it really fast tracks and
Volume
expanded
helps.
significantly. Yes, what I'm managing. So with private label at Misfits Market, we launched Odds and Ends, which is our entry private label program, in April of 2022. So it predated me by about 2 weeks to my start date. So it's been a really exciting time to get in on this, initially very small program, continue the work and expanding it, and really advocating for it, and seeing the success and how much it resonates with our customers, because they're great quality products, such a great value too, and they've done really well. And then now to have the Imperfect Foods private label program in the fold, it's significantly expanded what I'm responsible for, and also fast tracks a lot of our product development. So it's been a lot of exciting times in the last 6 months, especially, and this year is going to be even more exciting for us.
That's very cool. And I know you're doing some interesting things with product development. I mean, I've heard the pumpkin story. Well, can you share that with us?
Yeah, sure. So, there's a couple approaches to private label here, right? And especially when though we're e-commerce, it's not like we can just carry thousands and thousands and thousands of products. We need to scale up with the growth accordingly. So for right now, that means working smart and efficient with the slots we have available. And so, yes, we need some of those staple items, but then as we launch and develop those products, my point of thinking is, well, how can we put the Misfits twist on it? And a lot of that comes from my past experience of, working on many different categories with many different suppliers with very strict standards, and and starting to wonder, like, well, what happens to this lot of beans that gets rejected for an appearance reason or whatnot? So we had a similar opportunity come up with organic pumpkin puree, and which we all know is a great staple, has really high seasonality for the holidays, but people buy it all year round. It also is great for your pets, right? And so our supplier had a lot of pumpkin puree, but the bricks content, the sugar content was too high to meet their own specification and that of their other retailer customers. And everything's perfectly safe to eat. It actually makes a wonderful pumpkin bread. It's my favorite pumpkin to use for that. And we said, we'll take it. Let's have you can it. We'll put our label on it. And so that's a great story about how we kind of hit both check boxes, right? In terms of providing this staple item, but it also is rescuing basically product that was rejected for essentially being too sweet, but there's no quality issues to it. And we're able to offer it at a really great savings to our customers as well.
But you're telling your customer that it's sweeter, right? So you're getting that marketing benefit.
Right. And that's really been such a wonderful value add to working for an e-commerce company, right? Every product that we have has a really well designed product page on our website, and we can tell that story. It's so much so much availability to really tell the story and communicate why, but also be nimble when things might change with the pumpkin season to season, and we can quickly react to that and communicate the why to our customers. So that's really exciting.
Well, I mean, it's a great example of a very small incremental innovation that you just took advantage of, right? It's not a moon launch by any stretch of the imagination, but we can build even in those what most people would consider pretty dry, boring categories, right?
Right.
And find those stories that customers can engage with and make interesting things.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a great example of like, wow, it's not earth-shattering, R&D innovation or using like some brand new ingredient that's been patented. It's really utilizing what's available from nature that would otherwise not be used or go to a stream that isn't as profitable on a revenue standpoint for the suppliers. So by doing this, it's a win-win. It's a win for us. It fills a need in our assortment. It's a win for our customers because a lot of these products we can provide at a value. And that's also more of a win for our suppliers because it's better utilizing that for a more appropriate or profitable revenue stream for them than, tilling it back into the ground or whatnot. So it checks all the boxes. And a lot of times it just really involves having a curiosity mindset and asking questions of where would this have gone? What would have happened to it? And like, what problems are you experiencing now? What kind of waste do you have? So it's a lot of question asking.
Well, and you let the manufacturing base know that you're open to the conversation, because so
Exactly.
much of grocery is procurement based, right? It's this plus this equals this. It's a price, conversation over. Well, do you have something cool? Call me and tell me.
Right. Like I want to be that person. My team wants to be, those point of contacts when suppliers have something come up. And a lot of what we do too, part of our overall assortment strategy, aside from private label, we're bringing in a lot of everyday replenishment items, those branded items they help draw customers in because they're recognizable brands. They also, will kind of provide the benefit too of partnership with marketing dollars and whatnot. But then also, especially how we got started within dry grocery too, are these opportunistic buys. And so we love our our CPG partners, private label or not, to come to us when they have a packaging issue that comes up, um, or they have aging inventory, which has been happening quite a bit the last year or so as demand kind of levels out from COVID. Things like that, or they're going through a rebrand and need to use all this old packaging that they have. We love being that resource for them to partner with, and it's a great way to try out new products on our platform too, and see what does well and give us some more baseline for the future.
That's very cool. So let's talk about the year ahead. What does it look like you're coming out of this? The merger hopefully is settling in, and what do the next 12 months look like?
Oh boy, 2023 has already been transformative. So we started the year off with lots of post-merger integration activities, doing some work to really make the warehouse network that we have super efficient so we can continue to work towards our goal of profitability, and also can contribute more savings to our customers too. So there's been some amazing work going on with that. We've now fully integrated as teams from the two legacy companies. So the merchandising team I'm a part of is amazing and wonderful and so talented too. So that's been really exciting, with the combined expertise that we had from both legacy companies now really working together and fully integrated. In terms of private label, there's a lot going on. So, when we finished our acquisition of Imperfect Foods, the scope of what I was managing from private label increased by 700% overnight,
Wow.
essentially. And really exciting, because I had this roadmap of products I was going to develop, and this acquisition really fast tracks a lot of that. And so that's exciting. So I've been spending a lot of time over the last few months really getting to understand the history of the program, the different products, the suppliers as well. And I've really enjoyed that part. And now really thinking about, okay, we have these two private label programs of Odds and Ends and Misfits Market that were having the same goal, but slightly different priorities in terms of how they were being achieved on. So now how do I bring that together and make that a cohesive program that feels fluid? And so that's what I'm working on, the strategy work right now, and the subsequent work that will come out of that with, design work and all of that, and laying the foundation for continuing our mission-driven private label product development beyond this year. So it's fun and exciting, and there's going to be a lot of great things to come from Misfits Market in the coming year.
I look forward to seeing that. So then let's use our crystal ball, right? So this is the kind of future question, 5 years, 10 years from now. Not even necessarily Misfits. It can be Misfits, but private brand in general. What does the future look like? What are we capable of?
Oh, so much. I mean, we're definitely in this likely recession period and inflationary period right now. And I think back to the last recession that we had over a decade ago, and how much growth private label saw out of that, and the growth stuck, right? Customers turned towards private label out of necessity to save money because things were so tight, people were being laid off and whatnot. Same things are happening now too. But after that last recession, people really learned to trust private label. And like, wow, the quality is there. That's great. And now we've seen so much more.
Retailers got better at it.
Right, exactly. And invested more into it. And the innovation started coming too. Long gone are the days of private label being that me too program. It's not copy and paste anymore. Yes, there's still a need to do that, especially in certain categories, but retailers can't rest on their laurels of like, oh, organic or non-GMO makes us different, because it doesn't make anybody different
Yep.
anymore. And so now there's going to have to be a continued expectation of continued innovation. And also, I think retailers really need to keep leaning into private label to tell their story, because I think it's really going to be those mission-driven retailers, or the retailers that have a really strong identity that sets them apart with their customer base and uses private label to tell that story. And that's what's going to draw the drive from customers to continue shopping with them, and help just set them apart from the marketplace. And to think back to what we're doing at Misfits, and a lot of what attracted me to this opportunity with the food waste problem. And I was reading last night about the new report that came out from UN about, where Earth is headed with climate change and the global warming, and a new call to action for countries to basically do more, because we're headed towards being 6 degrees warmer by the end of the century. And this is a problem we have now, our generations have now, but we're not going to be around at the end of the century. But our children, hopefully their children, they're going to be dealing with this problem. So that's what as I think too about the Gen Z generation and the generations to come, this type of problem, these ways to support mission work and be aligned with retailers on their mission, that's going to continue to be top of mind. And I think the retailers that do that successfully, and they use private label to help authenticate what they're doing, are going to be the ones that are successful and stand apart. And I think it's going to put more pressure too on CPG companies. I mean, even on the innovation standpoint, they need to, there's been more pressure, and you kind of see that happening at the latest trade shows. They're really trying to step it up. So I think
I just don't know that Gen Z trusts big corporations,
exactly,
manufacturers, and all of that in the way their parents or grandparents did. It's, so we'll see how that impacts all of what we do, but should be a good thing for Misfits Markets and some of your peers. So that's a good thing. Yeah. Well, that's very exciting. So I always end with 5 questions, same 5 questions, super fun, no right or wrong answers. So question number 1, what's your favorite word?
Okay, my nerd is going to come out. My favorite
nerd,
word
I love your nerd.
Yes, my favorite word is petrichor. And it sounds like a made-up spell from the world of Harry Potter, but it's not. Petrichor is the word that describes the smell of rain, like the first rain after a while. And it's actually, it's actually,
we all have that visceral kind of,
right, the ozone from the raindrops interacting with a chemical emitted by the bacteria in the ground. But I think it's a fun word, and it describes one of my favorite smells on the planet.
Number 2, are you more artistic or more mathematic person?
I am naturally more artistic. I grew up dancing. I love to dance. My mind just thinks in a more creative way, and that's a lot of what drew me to product development. With introducing myself into this industry, and still that's part of the job that I love so much. I love finding creative solutions to problems, and really working with suppliers to think creatively about, what's something cool that we could do here, or what's a creative solution to a problem that you're having. I've also started taking piano lessons about 2 months ago as another creative outlet. So obviously, of course, especially leading strategy work and making assortment decisions, you have to practice, critical thinking and the mathematical analysis. And so there's definitely that side that I'm creative by nature.
Very nice. Number three, if you could share a meal with anyone, past or present, living or dead, who would it be and why?
I would have to say Dolly Parton. I just
Awesome.
love her. She has really infectious energy. She doesn't take herself too seriously. She's really transparent. And to think about her humble upbringing, the success that she's had, and just how much she's challenged the status quo over the course of her career, and she still keeps knocking it out of the park.
Yeah.
I just think she's fascinating, and I would love to just meet her in person and feel that energy in person.
And she gives millions of books to kids. And
Yes, I love what she does
I
to
mean,
support literacy work. I mean, she's amazing, in
she
my
breathed the
opinion.
life into Duncan Hines. Who would have thought anyone could do that?
Right, I know.
You know, it's all good.
Mhm.
Dolly Parton cake mixes. Number four, what profession other than your own would you have liked to have attempted?
Oh, well, originally for quite a while, I thought I was going to go the criminal justice route.
Ooh.
Which is quite the departure from
Like
what
cop, lawyer, where were you?
more specifically FBI. I really wanted to be a
Ah,
special
nice.
agent. I grew up in the era of watching the X-Files
Hmm.
every Friday, or I forget what day it was, Sunday on Fox. Um, and I loved Agent Dana Scully and thought she was just such a strong
Yeah.
inspiration for a female character. And also too, I have family that's in law enforcement, so that world is not, unknown to me. I'm familiar with it. But I thought about going down that path and doing forensic science. Um, and then I changed my mind and for a while was working towards meteorology. So that was my first major. Um, and that might be part of the reason why my favorite word is something weather
Yeah,
related
that makes sense.
with rain. But yes, I am fascinated by the weather. So yes, those would be the two weather fields that I
Well,
could likely be
those are
in.
very fun. And finally, number five, if you could speak to yourself at the beginning of your career, what advice would you give yourself?
Oh, a lot. um, I'm still learning quite a bit too. So I'm sure if I get asked this in another 10 years, I would have more answers. Two things come to mind, and that would be ask for forgiveness and not permission. And I think part of that could be, for many years being a young woman in the industry, and also one that tended to behave a little more introverted than extroverted too. So kind of learning my place. And I think there were opportunities where I could have just gone for things instead
Yeah.
of waiting until I felt like I was 100% ready. And I'm quite the perfectionist. So sometimes I was my own roadblock, and in some cases, um, and I'm thankful for the people that I had around me that were like, no, just
Gave you
do
the
it.
little
You're
push and said,
ready.
step up, you got it.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. So, I think that kind of goes in line too with feeling like it's okay to put yourself out there and take up space and be your own advocate, because ultimately at the end of the day, that's a
Yeah.
self responsibility we all have, and we can't count on others to always do that for us. Um, and then also, I think, see the importance of networking, truly networking.
Mhm.
That is not something I really learned the value of until recent years. And I always thought, oh, I'm good at building relationships. I know lots of people. I have good relationships with people, but the actual networking skill is different,
It takes
right?
work.
It's a different muscle to develop. And I, I'm glad that I've been doing the work on that the past years that I have, and I've seen so much return on that. But I definitely advocate for that with my younger colleagues too. I'm like, yo, or former colleagues, like, oh, you should go to this event, talk to these people, put yourself out there, and also be like, oh, I'm going to go to this event. Let's go together, and I'll help introduce you to try to give them that little push as well.
Uh,
'Cause it's,
I tell people if
yeah,
you're only networking when you want something, you're not networking.
right, right, exactly. And I've met so many amazing and interesting people when I have really put myself out there like that and taken advantage of those opportunities. And we're in such a cool industry with so many
Mhm.
fabulous people, and it's also kind of a small industry. I mean, faces come and go and they
That's
come
right.
back again, right? In
Mhm.
different capacities. So, and I tell some people, like, it might feel like work or it might feel hard now, but it's going to be worth it. And you're going to see all these people again in a different capacity,
Especially at that age. I mean,
right?
10 years, 20 years, you might all be VPs at different places, and you just never know. You just never know.
Exactly.
It's people ask me all the time. I'm sure you've noticed it. I put a little in the footer of my email address. I have a 15-minute meeting. Anybody can
Mm-hmm.
do a 15-minute meeting. I'll talk to anybody for 15 minutes. I don't care. Do I get random
Mm-hmm.
people every once in a while? Yeah,
Yeah.
it's fine. It doesn't matter.
Right.
And most people don't take advantage of it. It's just that kind of openness to,
You're
building
opening the
relationships.
door. Right. It used to be, so it's funny, I just got back from Expo West from 2 weeks ago, and I think about how I approach trade shows is a lot
Mm,
different, right? It used to be a running joke with some of my former colleagues many, many years ago that there'd always be at least one night while I'm away at a trade show that I don't do anything. I don't go out to dinner, order room service, just decompress. But now I think, oh my gosh, especially this last year, maybe part of it's just being so excited to get back and
yeah,
traveling again and
absolutely.
seeing people in real life. But I took advantage of every opportunity that I had to get out there and do networking events and meet new people. And I was like, wow, that's been a lot of growth over the last decade. And just I'm grateful for that learning too, and the people that I continue to meet. It's so much fun.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much. So it's my show. So I always I get to end up with plugging some of the stuff we do. Coming up April 19th, we'll have a free virtual innovation events, 2 hours. We've got research in the field right now, talking to the industry about what innovation means to private brand. And we'll have 3 or 4 retailers on panels and such. So that's super fun. Go to the website, sign up for it. April 19th, May 16th through the 18th, we'll be back here in Charlotte for our annual conference. Hopefully Morgan's going to join us if her schedule permits. Be presenting the Vertex Awards. I think Morgan will be happy with those. So super, super fun to that. And then we'll also be presenting Vertex Awards in Amsterdam the following Monday. So Monday, May 22nd. So if you just need a reason to come to Amsterdam, come have a drink with us and watch us give out trophies. And go walk PLMA. It's a great show as well. Thank you very much, Morgan.
Thank you, Christopher. I appreciate it.